In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It was a time of great cosmic activity. God formed the world from a formless void. He separated the light from the darkness, creating day and night. He gathered the waters to form the seas and raised the land. He filled the earth with plants and trees. He placed the sun, moon and stars in the sky. At the end of the sixth day, creation was complete. Everything was in its right place. The heavens and the earth were finished. Its vast expanse was complete. The world was good. God had created a perfect and ordered world. It was beautiful and harmonious. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. He was pleased with his creation. He had brought order from chaos. He had filled the world with life and beauty. On the seventh day, God rested from all his work. He blessed the seventh day and made it holy. This day was different from the others. It was a day set apart for rest and worship. The Sabbath was a sign of the covenant between God and his people. It was a reminder that God was their creator and redeemer. It was a day to rest from their labors and delight in God's presence. God's rest on the seventh day was not a sign of tiredness. God does not get tired. Instead, it signifies completion and satisfaction. God was pleased with his creation. He was ready to enjoy it with his people. God planted a garden in the east in Eden. This garden was a paradise. It was a place of beauty, abundance and delight. The Garden of Eden was a lush and fertile place. It was filled with all kinds of trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. The Garden of Eden was a special place for God and man to commune. It was a sanctuary, set apart from the rest of the world. In the middle of the garden were two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. These trees represented God's provision for life and his desire for man to choose obedience. These trees would play an important role in the story of Adam and Eve. Man's purpose, stewardship and obedience. God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The man became a living being. God placed the first man, Adam, in the Garden of Eden. Adam was given the responsibility to care for the garden and all living creatures. God gave man dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and every living creature that moves on the ground. Adam was to cultivate it and take care of it. He was to be a steward of God's creation. God gave Adam a command. You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. This command was a test of Adam's obedience and his trust in God. Animals, companions for man. God brought the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. Adam gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and all the beasts of the field. The act of naming the animals demonstrated Adam's authority over them. It also showed his understanding of their unique characteristics. However, not one of the animals was a suitable helper for Adam. He needed a companion who was like him. God recognized Adam's need for a suitable helper. The naming of the animals showed that Adam was different from them. He was created in God's image. He had a special role to play in God's creation. The woman, a partner for man. God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam. He took one of Adam's ribs and closed up the place with flesh. God made a woman from the rib. He brought her to the man. Adam was overjoyed when he saw her. He recognized her as bone of his bones and flesh of his flesh. The woman was created to be a suitable helper for the man. She was to be his companion, his partner, and his wife. The two would become one flesh. The creation of woman was a special act of God's grace and provision. The woman was created from man to show their essential unity and equality before God. The first marriage, a sacred union. Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh." This passage establishes the fundamental institution of marriage. God designed marriage to be a lifelong covenant relationship between a man and a woman. The union of Adam and Eve was the first marriage. It was a sacred union created and blessed by God. It was a picture of the relationship between Christ and the Church. The enduring significance of Genesis 2. Genesis 2 presents profound truths about God, humanity, and creation. It reveals a God who is both powerful and personal. He is intimately involved in the lives of his creatures. The chapter highlights the goodness of God's creation. It emphasizes humanity's special place as stewards of God's world. The story of Adam and Eve serves as a reminder of the importance of obedience and the consequences of sin. Ultimately, Genesis 2 points toward the hope of redemption and restoration through Jesus Christ. Genesis 2 is not just a story about the past, it is a story that still speaks to us today. It reminds us of our place in God's creation. It teaches us about the sanctity of marriage and the importance of relationships. It gives us hope for the future.